Well, good morning everyone and welcome to the NOLA Motorsports Complex. I'm Ken Walker and it's my privilege to be with you all day here at the NOLA Motorsports Park for the finals of the 2013 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. It's a wonderful occasion. Beautiful day here in Louisiana. Perfect racing conditions, and we start the pre-finals in just a moment or two with the Micromax pre-final at 9:30. We shall move on then to the Minimax pre-final at 9:50. The juniors are away at 10:10. Seniors will be out at 10:35. DD2 Masters at 11 o'clock. And the last of our pre-finals, the DD2 Opens, scheduled away at 11:30. Then we take our lunch break and the driver presentation parade, and then this afternoon, the finals. All 6 finals live available to you. Wherever in the world you're tuned in, you will be seeing and hearing what's happening here at NOLA Motorsports Park. Well, as I say, we get underway in just a moment or two. The first of our races, the Micromax pre-final for the little youngsters, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, and Dylan Tavella, the champion, won that title at Mooresville, up there at the GoPro Motorplex in North Carolina. He's on pole position alongside the Canadian driver Matthew Latifi. Have to say a big thank you to Matthew's mum. She gave me a very, very nice little Canadian souvenir. 2 Americans on row 2, Max Waithman and Harry Colton, but both of them, their grandparents in the United Kingdom, tuned in. Derek Carmenate and Jordan Hefner are row 3, Nicholas Dorlando and Diego LaRoque, row 4. Row 5, Tyler Gonzalez and Marco Kacic. Row 6 is Aidan Harrington and Xavier Harris. Row 7, Thomas Nepveur and Justin White. And the first of the girls, Hannah Greenemeyer. She's on row 8 with William Chair. Row 9, Giovanni Bramonte and Jordan Novota. And the top 20 completed on row 10 by Joshua Cunha and Jeremy Fairburn. Outside the top 20, Alexander Lagar and Jacob Yesnik are row 11. Ryan Desal and Eloy Lopez are row 12. Pauli Massimino and Noel Leon, row 13. Dustin Salaveria and Peyton Durant, row 14. Top 30 completed on row 15 by Kai Palomino and Patrick Woods-Toth. Sebastian Davis and Jeremy Talon are row 16. And the grid completed by Jesse James Mitchell and Ethan Arndt on row 17 and by Gino Sandoval on row 18. It's a 7-lap pre-final and these Micromax youngsters making their way round for the second of their formation laps. Well, yesterday we had a big listenership and viewership. Remains to be seen what happens today. We rather think those big numbers from yesterday likely to be improved upon. But whatever, even if there was only 1 or 2 of you tuned in, we'll be doing our best to bring you the best of the action and the information that helps you enjoy the event a little bit better. We're underway in less than a minute. Well, these youngsters went far too fast at the start yesterday. They've been told they must go a little slower. At the moment, we're only on the back straight, and they're already slow enough to be going for a start. We've got, I said we'd be underway in about a minute. It's going to take a minute for them at this pace to reach the start. But that's good, that's good, that's a discipline. Dylan Tavella and Matthew Latifi, the guys at the front with the responsibility of bringing the team round, bringing the whole of the field round at a sensible pace. And I just hear my good friend Mr. Rob Howden opening the circuit commentary. The commentary that you're hearing here online is not the circuit commentary. Mr. Rob Howden and Mr. Alain Cyr are doing that. My privilege, Ken Walker, to be with you online. And I'm hearing from France to my left, the official timekeeper, that the formation is good. The formation is good. So we're expecting a first timer. Once again, on pole position from the USA, Dylan Tavella. Joining him on the front row from Canada, Matthew Latifi. Here we go. And it's a good start, and Dylan Tavella makes the start comfortably. In second place, that's Maxwell Waithman. Third place, I think, is Matthew Latifi. Well, Matthew possibly just losing a place, or there's a bit of trading there between, I think that was Harry Colton, Matthew Latifi getting involved. Jordan Hefner, I do see in there, having made a decent start as well, and Nicholas Dolando, I think I can identify. But Dylan Tavella and Maxwell Waithman are the 1 and 2 at the moment. Dylan Tavella, who got his ticket to the grand finals by becoming the USA champion up there in Mooresville, North Carolina. Little bit of a difficult situation because he was aided by an exclusion, a DQ to Harry Colton. Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute that that was wrong or there was anything untoward. I simply say it would always be nice to win outright without a disqualification from your closest rivals. Now, the guys running in 4th and 5th, just trying to get a little bit further forward, but Dylan Tavella still brings the guys round at the end of the opening lap of 7. Maxwell Waithman still second. Matthew Latifi still third, as we called them initially. Matthew Latifi, absolutely tiny, isn't he? Not that any of them are big, but Matthew Latifi, even by this standard, a little small of stature. Derek Carmenate was in 4th place at the end of the opening lap, just a tiny fraction behind the front-running 3. Nicholas Delando 5th, Harry Colton in 6th place, and I think there was a trade of places, 5th and 6th there. Not sure if Harry Colton and Nicholas Delando did trade places. Mention of Harry Colton, I always have to say hi to Mom, no, not hi to Mum, hi to Grandad and Grandmother, and to Auntie and Uncle there in the northwest of England, in Cumbria, and in the Lake District and in Lancashire. Always tune in to listen to Harry. Harry spoke with me earlier in the week and said how much he enjoyed knowing that his folks back home in England are tuned in. That's a nice feature. Dylan Tavella still holding on to this advantage as we set off on lap 3. His lead over Maxwell Waithman is 0.08 of a second, in other words, not very much at all. Matthew Latifi is still in 3rd place. Let's see if there's any potential move. Not at the moment. Derek Carmenate 4th and Nicholas Delando in 5th place, and those 5 are definitely clear of 6th place Harry Colton and 7th place Taylor Gonzalez. Quite a big gap behind 7th place before you get to Diego Larocque in 8th, Jordan Hefner in 9th, and Canadian driver Thomas Nipver completing the top 10 in 10th place. Let's have a look where the lady is. Hannah Greenemeyer running 19th at the moment in KART-32. Let's have a look who else we can tell you about. Was going to mention one of the others, but they seem to have slipped off my radar. Jordan Hefner in 9th place was the driver I wanted to tell you about. KART number 33, Jordan Hefner. You see on the screen to your left, Hef, number 9. There we go. So we are on lap 3 of a 7-lap race, and we now start lap 4. Dylan Tavella's lead is still a narrow one, but it is a full 1/10 of a second now, which it wasn't previously. Matthew Latifi in 3rd place. Derek Carmenate 4th. Nicholas Delando 5th, and those 5 definitely clear of the 6th and 7th place drivers, but Harry Colton in 6th place, getting a challenge now from Tyler Gonzalez in 7th. You can see on the screen that detachment, the front running 5, then the gap, then Harry Colton and Tyler Gonzalez. But your race lead, this is still Dylan Tavella you're looking at, with Maxwell Waithman behind him, and the diminutive Matthew Latifi making a move now from 3rd place. And is this the first challenge for the lead? Well, Matthew Latifi's tried to make it stick, and I think does get, it goes wrong in the exit from the chicane, and so Dylan Tavella coming round to retain his lead. No, he hasn't. It is Matthew Latifi. So, and as I speak to say Matthew Latifi had taken the lead, that looks as if that was a return situation. Derek Carmenate going through. The loser there, the big loser, which I failed to identify, was Maxwell Waithman, who dropped down from 2nd to 6th. So the guy that lost it in the chicane, just peering at the numbers, doing my best to pick out an accurate race call for you, but not always easy when you can't see the numbers clearly. But this is Matthew Latifi leading Derek Carmenate and Nick Dolando, and those three well clear of the next 4. So whereas we had a front running 5 and then a 2, we've now got a front running 3, little bit of a gap, and then a 4. Then behind those 7, it's a long gap back to the 8th place driver, which is Thomas Nepfer of Canada, Diego Larocque 9th, and Giovanni Bramonte completing the top 10 at number 10. This is lap 5 of a 7-lap race about to be concluded. So 2 remaining in the Micromax pre-final, and Derek Carmenate, always say to you in commentary, not sure I say his name correctly how you would want me to say it, and every time I learn at the end of a day, it's another 5, 6, 7, 8 months before I come back to the USA. But Derek is certainly leading. Matthew Latifi is certainly in 2nd place, and that front-running 5 is now in effect a front-running 7. There is a little bit of a gap between 5th and 6th. Derek Carmenate there on screen, you see, cart number 25, our race leader shown as in position 1. Matthew Latifi. I say again a big thank you to Mom and Dad, who were very kind to give me a little souvenir of the Canadian team in the grand finals. And here is a potential move, and Nicholas Dorlando makes a move. Oh, and Derek Carmenate is in no man's land and loses several places. A good move by Nick Dorlando. Dylan Tavella also taking advantage. It's the start of the last lap. Nick Dorlando 1, Matthew Latifi 2, Dylan Tavella 3, Maxwell Waithman in 4th place, and those 4 just a little bit further forward than Derek Carmenate, the leader on the previous lap, who is down to 5th now. Harry Coulton putting pressure in 6th place. Ever so slightly detached 7th place driver Tyler Gonzalez. And in fact, maybe Tyler Gonzalez and Harry Coulton traded places from how I called that. But at the front now, Nicholas Latifi, sorry, it's his brother Matthew Latifi, looking for a way into the lead of this one. We have half a lap remaining here at NOLA Motorsports. The front-running 4 or 5 are now a front-running 2. Matthew Latifi trying to get the draft on Nicholas Dorlando. Into that final little chicane, closing fast in 3rd place, I think is Dylan Tavella, and there is the move by Matthew Latifi. Here's the checkered flag, and that has been won by the Canadian. So a late move by Matthew Latifi wins it from Nicholas Dorlando, Maxwell Waithman 3rd, Tyler Gonzalez 4th, Dylan Tavella 5th, Derek Carmenate, who led with a lap and a half to go, 6th, Harry Coulton 7, Diego Larocque 8, Xavier Harris 9, and Giovanni Bramonte completing the top 10. Hope you enjoyed that race. First victory of the day going to Matthew Latifi of Canada. Well, confirmation of the result of the first pre-final on finals day in the 2013 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. the Micromax youngsters. Victory taken right at the end by Matthew Latifi of Canada. Nicholas D'Orlando, the unlucky driver who lost the lead with 1 turn remaining, made a good second place, however. Maxwell Waithman, cheered on by his grandfather back home in the United Kingdom, third. Dylan Tavella, who started on pole position, just finishing 5th, behind Tyler Gonzalez. Giovanni Bramante completing the top 10, outside of the top 12. Well, no big names there that are way down. Usually mention the girls, don't I? And got to mention Hannah this time. Not sure if I've already missed the second of the ladies, but apologies if I have. Hannah Greenemeyer finishing 16th. Jordan Novota a little bit further down in 18th place. Good drive by Jesse James Mitchell. He's only 28th, but he started way at the back. And Gino Sandoval from stone last to 29th. Commiserations to Aidan Harrington, the only driver of the 35 starters who didn't complete the full race distance. But he'll start later on this afternoon in the final. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. And once again, congratulations to Matthew Latifi. He's going to go on pole position in the final. Nick Delando will start with him on the front row. And we look forward to seeing those Micromax youngsters in their final, which will start our afternoon race program at 1:15 local time. That's Central Time here in the United States of America. Well, they were the Micromax youngsters. Coming up next, a little bit bigger, but not a lot, the Minimax youngsters. Devin Buteau on pole position for this one, and David Malukas joining him on the front row. Another 7-lap race coming up next, scheduled away at 9:50. 5 minutes to go. We do appreciate you tuning in online, folks. We really do. Most of our listeners and viewers have come from the United States and the rest of North America, in Canada, a lot from Australia.
Interviews with 1-8.
Well, Matthew Latifi was our first race winner of the day, and he's talking to Jenny Wade. Let's go and join them now.
I'm here with the winner of the pre-final in the Micromax, Matthew Latifi. Matthew, what a fantastic, exciting finish to that race.
Yeah, it was fun and I focused, and on the last lap I just tried to see an opening and then I just put my nose in.
Well, you definitely got the opening there because it was so close. All the American drivers around you giving you a hard time, but you came through on the last lap for the win. Are you feeling confident now for the final?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident, yeah.
Okay, we're going to wish you luck, and it's great racing here. You like being at the grand finals?
Yeah, it's fun to watch all the races, and it's fun to race too with the best people around the world.
Of course, you are the future in motorsport, in Rotax as well. Will we see you one day at the grand finals on the top step of the podium?
Yeah, I think if I keep pushing hard, I think I will. I'll be on the top of the podium.
I'm sure you will. Good luck in the final. We'll be watching.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, Matthew. Well said. Matthew Latifi, our first race winner on finals day. Maybe just a tiny little bit nervous talking to Jenny Wade, but obviously very proud of that victory, and we wish him well, and the rest of the Micromax youngsters later on. Okay, we turn our attention now to the Minimax pre-finals, scheduled away in a couple of minutes. Well, Devin Buteau in kart 62, scheduled to start this one on pole position and be joined on the front row by kart 72, David Malukas. Antonio Serravale and Roman De Angelis, an all-Canadian row 2 behind the all-American front row. Michael Ben-Yahya and Michael Dorlando. We've just seen Nicholas Dorlando racing, Michael Dorlando racing in this one on row 3. Confirmation, an all-American front row, all-Canadian row 2, and then the Americans, Michael Ben-Yahya and Mike Dorlando on row 3. Stingray Rob, love that name, Stingray Rob, being looked after by my good friend Steve Chapman from England. He's on row 4 with Aidan Keel. Top 10 completed on row 5 by Samuel Lupian of Canada, Jack Miller of USA. Row 6, Matthias Ramirez Barrero and Nick Bruckner. Row 7, Emiliano Richards of Mexico and Neil Verhagen of the United States. Row 8, Joseph Lambert and Horatio Fitzsimon. Horatio had a word with me this morning, said, "Where do you come from in England?" And it turns out he was born about 70 miles from where I live. What a small world. Row 9, Griffin Dowler and Colin Stewart. And the top 20 completed on row 10 by Manuel Suleiman of Mexico and Trenton Sparks of the USA. Outside the top 20, Sean Grunstein and Enzo Fittipaldi. Row 11, Enzo was telling me how well his big brother Pietro's doing in cars now. Jeremy Crowell and Matthew Morgan behind them on row 12. Thomas Simard and Thierry Coute, an all-Canadian row 13. Joe Serrano and Sam Louis Tisdale, row 14. Carson Vogel and David Rafailov are row 15. Justin Sagani, racing for the United States of America, but with strong Jamaican connections. Hi to all my reggae racing fans or friends I should say, not fans, that sounded a little bit big-headed, in Jamaica. George Stojakovic shares row 16 with Justin Sagani. Parker Chase and Dante Yu are row 17. Taylor Cool and the unlucky JP Hutchinson are row 18. Unlucky JP because he only did, I think, 3 laps in qualifying practice when he had an issue, and that has doomed him to have to start the pre-final last. But you can come forward. You can come forward a lot of places if there's 35, 36 of you. 36 going to grid for this one. 7-lap race once again. The race distance for the youngsters. I'm just being prompted by Jill, quite rightly. Stingray Rob not being looked after by my good friend Steve Chapman, being looked after by my good friend Blake Choker. I was talking to Blake this morning alongside Stingray, just getting myself a little bit... I've got too many friends here. I'm very, very fortunate. It was not my good friend Steve Chapman, it was my good friend Blake Choker looking after Stingray Rob. And Stingray, we wish him well from row 4, as indeed we wish all of the guys well. In mentioning Blake Choker, hi to my good friend Don Choker, who's sent a couple of tweets in to me, and his good lady Dorothy, always a charismatic lady, Dorothy Choker, at the Rotax Grand Finals, and I rather miss Dorothy not being here. Shame, the closest we've ever been to her British Columbia home, and Don as well, but at least we have the family represented by Blake Choker looking after Stingray Rob. Well, nice view of the technical infield part of this configuration. Just to explain to you, there's several configurations here at the NOLA Motorsport Complex. We're racing one over a 1,460 metre distance, and that incorporates the longest straight, or straightaway as you would say in North America, in international karting, the longest straightaway that I have ever seen. So a very, very fast circuit on the back straight, but a complicated, complex, challenging technical infield section. We have a good mix of what's good and what is the right way to set up a track. The fastest kart alone, you need more than, but you can't have one that's good in the technical section that can't handle that long speed of the back straight. Well, to the left of your screen, 62 is Devin Buteau, and to the right, David Malukas. They're the front row pairing, coming onto the home straight now. Devin Buteau on pole position. And a good start by David Malukas from the outside of the front row, but he's having to give second best to Antonio Serravalle, who is in second place, and Devin Buteau, who leads. So going into turn 2 on the opening lap of 7, those front 3 have already pulled a little bit of away, and here's our first move, and David Malukas putting a passing attempt on Antonio Serravalle, and although I looked away at the crucial moment, or my view was obscured, I think that he's executed that. David Malukas from the USA, Antonio Serravalle from Canada, but our race leader from pole position, Devin Buteau, and Devin Buteau loses the lead. And I'm pretty sure this is David Malukas getting the charge forward. David Malukas, who started on the outside of the front row, kart number 72. Don't have a driver bio from David, although I know I've seen him race several times previously. We set off on lap 2. David Malukas 1, Devin Buteau in second place, Antonio Serravalle third, Stingray Rob, who's looked after by Blake Choker, as I mentioned, in fourth place, Michael Benyahia in fifth. Looking a little bit further down, Matthias Ramirez Barrero 6, Samuel Lupian 7, Roman De Angelis 8th, Neil Verhagen 9th, and Aidan Keel completing the top 10. Michael Delando just outside the top 10 11th, Colin Stewart 12th, Horatio Fitzsimmons 13th, Nick Bruckner 14th, and the top 15 completed by Enzo Fittipaldi da Cruz. Well, as I look out of the window as well as on the screen, the front 2 have pulled away by about 8 kart lengths, and David Malukas coming under pressure from Devin Buteau, and a change in third, fourth place. I think that's Stingray Rob going past Antonio Serravalle. Oh, and a driving standards flag being shown. You see the black and white flag to the left centre of your screen. Try to identify who's picked up that warning. David Malukas 1, Devin Buteau in second place, Stingray Rob up to third as we called in commentary, Michael Benyahia 4th, Ramirez Barrero in 5th place, and very close behind him is Antonio Serravalle of Canada, fighting back, having lost those places towards the end of the second lap. 7 laps is the race distance for the Minimax youngsters. And David Malukas just putting inches extra between himself and Devin Buteau. They're the ones in shot now on your screen, and you can see that there's a good 7 lengths between them and the second and the third and fourth place pairing, which is Stingray Rob and Michael Benyahia. And then it's 2 by 2 by 2, isn't it? Behind them, Ramirez Barrera and Antonio Serravalle. Coming round to start lap 4. Still don't see who that driving standards flag is being shown to. And in fact, I'm being told that's a second flag. That's a second flag. So 2 of the drivers have picked up driving standards flags. Last time I mentioned the top 15. Enzo Fittipaldi da Cruz was in the top 15, but he's out of the top 20 now, 22nd place. JP Hutchinson from Stone Last up into the top 30 at 30th. Horatio Fitzsimon from 16th place, I'm afraid has fallen down to 29th place. We're on lap 4, and we're about at the half race distance. 3.5 laps gone, 3.5 laps to go. David Malukas and Devin Buteau are still the pairing that's disputing first and second. Behind those and getting a little bit closer, it's Stingray Rob and Michael Benyahia coming to the final turn onto the home straight on lap 4. And setting off now on lap 5. Devin Buteau a little bit closer to David Malukas. I'm going to stay with these two because Devin Buteau, if he could find the gap, is close enough to make a move. I'm not sure that Michael Benyahia is close enough to Stingray Rob to challenge for third. In fact, he's not. There's a lap and a kart length and a quarter between them. But David Malukas holding off the challenge of Devin Buteau, but it's a tough challenge by Devin. Although having said that, just exiting the infield complex, the technical challenge, maybe David Malukas has taken quarter of a length out of the chasing Devin Batui has. As we go onto the back straight, there's just a little bit more of a gap than there was, although our television cameras, although they foreshorten, that does look as if Devin Batui has closed up, and he's glancing over his right shoulder. That's often a prelude to a bid for the lead. They're coming round to complete lap 5. Still David Malukas leads, still Devin Batui putting really serious pressure on him in second place. Stingray Rob and Michael Ben Yahya remain the two guys behind them in third and fourth. Then quite a gap to Aidan Keel it is, who's driven up to fifth place. Good drive by Aidan. Roman De Angelis 6th, Matthias Ramirez Barrero 7th, Neil Verhagen is in 8th place, Michael Dorlando 9th, and it's Samuel Lupian now completing the top 10, and Antonio Serravale out of the top 10 in 11th place. So lap 6 of 7, there's just over 1.5 laps to go in the Minimax pre-final, and these American, Canadian and Mexican youngsters, they're not part of the grand finals in the sense that there'll be a world championship announced, a world champion at the end of it, but they are part of the session because they're here and racing. The last lap board coming out, and the front running 2 is nearly a front running 4. Let's stay with those front 2. David Malukas still holding off a challenge from Devin Batui. Now let's just pause and remember that Matthew Latifi's win in Micromax was achieved by leaving his passing move until about 20 yards before the last turn, going through there onto the home straight for the 7th and final time. It was a late move. So are we going to see something similar? It's not a front running 2 now, it's a front running 4. But having said that, David Malukas has kicked on, and Devin Batui has slipped back a little bit, and Stingray Rob looking as if he might be a little bit more interested in going into second place. And David Malukas is being hunted down now on the fast back straight, but he holds off the challenge. They've all closed up the front 3. David Malukas has a right-hander to negotiate to take victory, but I think victory slips away from him. Well, it was exactly as we said. The timing was perfect by Devin Batui. Devin Batui was just winding up, and David Malukas, who didn't do a lot wrong, found that on the last turn of the last lap, he lost the race to Devin Batui. So Devin Batui, your winner. David Malukas second, Stingray Rob third, Michael Ben Yahya fourth, and then behind those front running 4, Aidan Keel 5th, Roman De Angelis 6th, Michael Dorlando 7th, Matthias Ramirez Barrero dropped a place late on to 8th, Neil Verhagen 9th, and Samuel Lupian completed the top 10. But well done to Devin Batui, he timed that move perfectly. David Malukas second, good race, and Stingray Rob getting better of Michael Ben Yahya for third in front of the 4th place driver he had that long dice with. Good race by the Minimax drivers. Hope you enjoyed that one. Well, confirmation of the result of the Minimax pre-final. Victory on that final turn going to Devin Batui. David Malukas, long-time race leader, was second. Stingray Rob coming home third after a good battle with 4th placed Michael Ben Yahya. Aidan Keel was the best of the chasing pack. Manuel Suleiman in 16th place was, I think, the best placed Mexican driver. Yes, he was. 16th, the best placed Mexican, Manuel Suleiman. Emiliano Richards in 24th place, the next best of the Mexicans. And commiserations to the drivers towards the lower end of the grid. JP Hutchinson had to start stone last. Well, it's a little bit better in the final. He's on the second last row. So, Jenny Wade down there, able to talk, I think, with our Victor. Let's go down to Jenny Wade now.
I'm here with Devon. Now, Devon, what a great move. Last corner, last lap to win the Minimax pre-final.
Well, I had to roll the curb to be able to make it through. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't crash. I didn't want to total the cart, but I'd like to thank my dad, my mom, Haas for a great chassis, Rotax for putting on this great event, and New Orleans, NOLA Motorsports Park for an amazing track.
What a professional young driver we have, Devon from Florida. Now, Devon, tell me one more thing. How was the racing from start to finish?
The racing was good. I pushed David Malukas, the 72,
Yeah.
all the way to the cows come home because I didn't want to make it a 6-car race. I only wanted to make it a 2-car race.
And in the end it was. He went a little bit wide on the last corner and you got in there.
Yeah, he tried to block to make sure I didn't get the move, and I stayed in my race line, and he went wide out of the corner, and I just rolled the curb, and I made it through.
So all set for the pre-final. First position now, final. You think you need to make many changes?
I think we need to make a little bit more changes, and I need to fix one corner, and I think I'll be really good for the final.
Okay, good preparation. It sounds like you've got a good team there. I guess they're really excited. I'll let you go. Well done. It's great racing and everyone at home is enjoying it. So great to see you here at the Grand Finals.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, welcome.
Okay, let's just take a break now after hearing Devon and Jenny. Yeah, really good pictures there, aren't they, in the snow? Those snowmobiles looking good. Enjoyed that. Hope you did. Well, we've got no snow here at the NOLA Motorsports Park, and as you can see, the spectators, there's a lot of shirt sleeves, there's a lot of guys and girls who have got themselves into the sunshine, and it is sunny now, really perfect racing conditions. At the start of the week, it was very, very warm. Middle of the week, we had a cold, cold wind, but that's all gone. Yesterday, we had the rain, spoiled the pre-finals in some respects, but today, pretty much perfect racing conditions. And these drivers that you see on the assembly area are the juniors going towards the pre-final. Well, I'm Ken Walker, working with my friends at KART-DATA, the timing service. Also, as well as the official timekeeping for by KART-DATA, we are the TV production team. So KART-DATA bringing to you these pictures from the NOLA Motorsports Park. I'm Ken Walker, sitting here in my booth, got a great view of the track, got my timing screen, got all my data at hand. If I don't get it right, it's all my own fault, but I'm going to be doing my best to call this one for you. The juniors out next, and it's an all-American, it's an all-North American front row with Kyle Kirkwood of the USA on pole and Jeffrey Kingsley from Canada joining him on the front row. Row 2, Jori Vips from Estonia. Hi to my friends in Estonia. And Thomas Issa from Jamaica. And I've got to give a shout out to all my reggae racing fans. Hi to Neil Williams from the president of the Jamaican Karting Association, and Peter Ray, who gave me some cuff links to link to us. Juan Correa, the champion, is on row 3, the American champion, with Julian van der Watt of South Africa. Brett Ward of Great Britain, Joseph Burton Harris, Australia, row 4. Hi to my friends, good day to my friends down in Oz. Denis Mavlanov, Russia, Ralph Aaron completing the top 10, Ralph from Estonia. Luke Selican, USA, Ricardo Garcia of Spain, row 6. Guan Yu Zhou, the Chinese driver based in England now, row 7 with Max Hofer of Austria, Robbie Gallia and Shogo Endo, row 8. Row 9, Bastien Legay and Marvin Pionke. And the only girl left in any of the classes, Ashley Rajero, the USA number 2. She starts on row 10 with fellow American Blaine Rocha. Manuel Caizares and Lars Lambarella, row 11. Root Markkanen and Tom Harvey, the Welshman, row 12. Tony Toika and Liam McClellan, row 13, John Del Valle and James Abela, another of the Aussies, row 14, and the top 30 completed by Jordan Sherritt of South Africa and Rinus van Kalmthout of the Netherlands. Ferdinand Habsburg and Max Timmermans share row 16. And the grid completed by Laurinus Razash of Lithuania and Thomas Preining from Linz in Austria, where the Rotax factory is. Thomas Preining's dad, a former motorcycle Grand Prix rider. Well, it's 4 wheels for Thomas, not 2, but he had to negotiate the last chance race yesterday, but did so. Our thanks to Super B Lithium Batteries, our sponsors of this class, the 125 Junior Max. This will be an 11-lap race, for the pre-final in juniors, going up in distance from 7 laps. 7 laps was the heat distance for the juniors, 4 more for the pre-final. Okay, Kyle Kirkwood from the United States of America, Jeff Kingsley from Canada, making a very strong North American challenge to the rest of the world. Jori Vips is from Europe, Thomas Issa from Central America. We're racing, and Kyle Kirkwood gets a really good start with Jori Vips going with him. And Jori Vips bidding to take the lead, but has to back up, and getting a little bit of a nudge from behind. And, well, I guess the guys who are supporting the gentleman concerned would be hoping that the officials don't take too unkind a view of that. But it is Kyle Kirkwood from pole position, making that advantage count. Yuri Vips in second place, still holding on. That was, and in fact he loses, no, it's Yuri Vips, Jeff Kingsley it was, wasn't it, coming through there that we saw on screen. Lovely sunny day here at NOLA Motorsports Park. Ever so glad it's sunny, but you sometimes get a little glare on the numbers. Wee bit difficult for me to identify numbers in the early stages from the karts, but I can tell you that that's Kyle Kirkwood in front, and I can tell you he's in front by about 3 kart lengths as we come to the end of the opening lap. Kyle Kirkwood 1, Yuri Vips 2, and we have the full course slow. We have a safety car situation. You see the waved yellows. It's a full course slow. Now this is the equivalent of the safety car coming out in the car races. So everybody scrubs off the racing pace. Stay where you are. Do not go past anybody in front, or else you'll have overtaken on a yellow flag. I don't see the incident that's drawn the full course yellow, although Jill's pointing out to me over to my left. Well, Kyle Kirkwood, we are continuing with our 11 lap race, but not in race mode. We are in full course yellow mode as the drivers move onto the end of the extended home straight. Nobody is racing. The slow boards are out. Kyle Kirkwood leads, Yuri Vips second, Juan Manuel Correa, the American champion, third, Jeff Kingsley, who started on the front row, the Canadian, fourth, Brett Ward of the United Kingdom, fifth, Thomas Issa of Jamaica, sixth, Luke Selican, the third American in the top 7, is 7th place, Denis Mavlanov of Russia, 8th, Ralph Aron of Estonia, 9th, and completing the top 10, Joseph Burton Harris of Australia. Outside the top 10, Liam McClellan, another Aussie, is 11th, Marvin Pionke of Germany, 12th, Shogo Endo of Japan is 13th, Ricardo Garcia of Spain, 14th. The lady in the race, the last of the 5 girls, the only one to make the finals, Ashley Rogero, is running in 15th place, and we shall have another lap under the slow conditions. Ashley Rogero, 15th. 16th is Tony Toyika. Ashley Rogero, the USA number 2 from Florida. Tony Toyika from Finland, 16th. John Del Valle of Spain, 17th. Rup Markkanen of Finland, 18th. James Abela of Australia, 19th. And completing the top 20, Jordan Sherratt of South Africa. Lars Lamberel, the Dutchman, 21st. Tom Harvey, the Welshman, 22nd. Max Timmermans, the Belgian, 23rd. Max Hofer, the Austrian, 24th. Thomas Preining, another Austrian, is 25th, having started last, so from 34th to 25th. Guan Yu Zhou, born in Shanghai, People's Republic of China, but based in England now and racing on a British license, 26th. Laurinus Razash, Lithuania, 27th. Robbie Gallia of England, 28th. Julian van der Watt of South Africa, who started on the 3rd row, 29th. Ferdinand Habsburg of Hungary, completing the top 30. Blaine Rocha, United States, 31. Bastien Legay of France, 32. Rinus van Kalmthout of Netherlands in 33rd place, and Manuel Caizares of Spain is the driver who is not circulating presently. Okay, I'm hearing a message that we're going to go back into race mode at the end of this 3rd lap. So Kyle Kirkwood will lead off from Yuri Vips. The green flag is showing, and away we go, and Kyle Kirkwood continues to lead from Yuri Vips. Oh, and a little bit of a nudge there, but Kyle Kirkwood handles that well. Yuri Vips second, Juan Manuel Correa third, just clipping a curb. 4th place driver is Jeff Kingsley, and those 4 have pulled away a little bit from the rest of the pack. Well, Kyle Kirkwood took a strange line then and invited Yuri Vips to try and make the pass, but I don't think it's... Oh, and Kyle Kirkwood's got it all wrong and out of shape and drops back to, I think, 3rd place now. So Yuri Vips gets the break that he was looking for, forced the error upon Kyle Kirkwood, and the reward for Yuri Vips and Juan Manuel Correa is a big reward. Jeff Kingsley wasn't able to take full advantage of it, but Brett Ward also involved there. Think I see Thomas Issa just behind those, and there's changes again between third and fourth, and we've lost one of our front runners, absolutely. One of our front runners, absolutely, going back several places. Yuri Vips leads from Brett Ward and Thomas Issa. It was Kyle Kirkwood falling further back that I saw. Luke Selican now fourth, and Kyle Kirkwood, the pole sitter, it's been a disaster for him because he's gone out of the race, and Kyle Kirkwood, who was racing well until the full course yellow, got away in the lead on the restart, did get a couple of nudges I noticed, but something went badly wrong, and Kyle Kirkwood is down in 18th place, and as we speak at the moment, would be scheduled for a 9th row start in the final, rather than the pole start that's being battled for at the front. And Yuri Vips and Brett Ward trade places. We're on lap 5 of 11, and Yuri Vips and Brett Ward, the Estonian and the Englishman, trade places. Brett Ward leads, Yuri Vips second. Quite a gap back then to the American Luke Selican, but Luke Selican's also got plenty of room to spare before the 4th, 5th and 6th drivers. 4th is Juan Manuel Correa, 5th is Joseph Burton Harris, and the 6th place driver, the only lady left in the competition, is Ashley Rajero. She started way down in 19th place, so Ashley Rajero has come up to 6th place in 5.5 laps, and 2.5 of those laps were under the full course yellow. So Ashley Rajero making a big challenge after a disappointing set of heats and a disappointing qualifying. Well, Brett Ward in kart number 131, leading from Yuri Vips. Brett Ward is from London, England, 16 years of age, qualified from the Belgian, the Benelux competition, so hasn't qualified either from British or the Rotax European series, but nevertheless showing us the way round here. This is lap 7 of 11, and Brett Ward has got about 2 full kart lengths on Yuri Vips second, Luke Selican third, Joseph Burton Harris fourth. The Welshman Tom Harvey has come up from outside the top 10 up into 5th place. Ashley Rajero 6th. Juan Manuel Correa spills a place to 7th. Ralph Aron 8th. Denis Mavlanov 9th. And Guan Yu Zhou, the Shanghai-born British driver, completing the top 10 and completing it from a long way down. Thomas Issa, and one of the drivers there abandoning the kart, I think may have been Liam McClellan, maybe not. Thomas Issa falling down to 11th. Kyle Kirkwood, who was down to 18th, is back to 13th. So Kyle Kirkwood having to repair the damage. As you see on lap 7, Brett Ward has got 0.18 of a second over Yuri Vips. Then it's a full, virtually 2 seconds between Joseph Burton Harris third and Brett Ward in the lead. Luke Selican having surrendered what looked a very safe 3rd place. Confirmation that Ashley Rajero, who did get herself up to 6th, in fact I think even 5th, is 7th at the moment as we speak. Guan Yu Zhou driving into 9th. Thomas Issa, who fell out of the top 10, running 10th now, back into the top 10. And Kyle Kirkwood knocking on the door of the top 10 after the disaster following the restart. Jeff Kingsley, who started on the outside of the front row, is going to be very disappointed with 15th. Thomas Preining, who started stone last in 34th, has gone through half the field to 17th. Ferdinand Habsburg has gone from 31st to 18th, so a good drive by him. Blaine Rocher will be disappointed. Blaine Rocher back down in 23rd place. Well, Japanese driver in 27th place, Shogo Endo, he's definitely going to be disappointed. He was going a lot better that. Marvin Pionke in 29th as well. Julian Vanderwatt started on the 3rd row and is running 28th. Liam McClellan even further back in 30th place. So, we are on lap 9 of an 11-lap junior pre-final, Our race leader is still Brett Ward from England. Behind him is Jori Vips from Estonia. I've said previously in race commentary, Estonia is not thought of as one of the major motorsport nations, but Estonia have produced so many brilliant drivers at this level. We think of world champion Kenneth Hildebrand. We think of world champion Kevin Korhus, who also followed up with a number 2 position in a dog of a kart when he was the world champion. Gone on to have a successful career now in Formula 3. And several other besides, but Jori Vips is the present one. Just trying to think. One of our world champions more recently, it was Martin Rump, was the world champion at La Conca in Italy. So Estonia, 3 world champions at junior level. Well, here we see the chase down of the front-running 5. Brett Ward holding off the challenge of Jori Vips. Those are the 2 in shot now. Brett Ward first, Jori Vips second, then the 3 really dicing there. Joseph Burton Harris third, Luke Seligan fourth, Tom Harvey fifth. So our nations, it's England in first place, Estonia second, Australia third, USA fourth, Wales fifth, USA sixth, Estonia, Ralph Aaron making it 2 of the Baltic nations in the top 7. Guan Yu Zhou, United Kingdom via China 8th, USA Kyle Kirkwood 9th, and Finland Ruut Makkonen completing the top 10. Ashley Rahero, who got herself up to 6th place, and she even got herself up to 5th. She's fallen out of the top 10, running 11th at the moment, just in front of 12th place Thomas Issa. But this is the last lap. Let's stay with the front runners to do justice with them. Here they are coming into view. This is Brett Ward of the United Kingdom leading Jori Vips. Behind them, those 2 are Luke Selican, USA, and Joseph Burton Harris of Australia. And as you can see, Brett Ward urging the most out of his kart. Just one more chicane to negotiate. Onto the home straight. There's the checkered flag, and your victory in the junior final goes to Brett Ward. Brett Ward from London, England wins it. Jori Vips from Tallinn, Estonia second. Luke Selican lost 3rd place to Tom Harvey on that final push. So Tom Harvey from Cardiff in Wales completes the top 3. Luke Selican, USA 4. Joseph Burton Harris 5th. Juan Manuel Correa, the American champion 6. Ralph Aaron makes it 2 Estonians in the top 7. Guan Yu Zhou 8. Ruut Makkonen 9th. And the pole sitter, who suffered that really big disaster after the restart, does get a top 10 finish in the pre-final to start the final on the 5th row. The last of the girls in the whole of the competition, Ashley Rahero, fell back to 13th, having been 5th at one time. Thomas Preining, who started last, climbed up to 14th. Well, hope you enjoyed that one. An incident-ridden junior race. It's a shame that we had the flag, the full course yellow, but Manuel Casares was in need of medical attention, and driver safety comes first, even before a driver's wish to race to win. Well, I'm just being told that Manuel Casares of Spain did walk away from that incident. He was in a position where he was in some vulnerability and looked to need medical attention. But we can say the happy news that Manuel Casares, the bad news for Manuel is that he's going to have to start last in the final, but the good news is he's uninjured and is not going to have to go off to hospital or anything like that. Confirmation that Brett Ward took the victory by 0.2 of a second from Jori Vips. Tom Harvey getting 3rd place off Luke Selican late on. American champion Juan Manuel Correa running 6th. Kyle Kirkwood, the American driver who started on pole position, fighting back from 19th to 10th after the disaster at the restart of the race. Ashley Rahero, the only girl of 5 left in the competition. The other 4 didn't make their respective finals. She's finished 13th for a 7th row start in the final. Well, Shogo Endo, the Peter Pan entrant, going to be disappointed with 29th, that's for sure. Well, as I've explained to you previously, it's a lovely, lovely day here at NOLA Motorsport Complex. Not quite as hot as it was at the beginning of the week when we had the chassis lottery and when we had chassis distribution and some free practice and non-qualifying practice, but a lot nicer than it was when the bitterly cold wind came midweek. That was cold. And yesterday the heavy rain, but right now just about perfect. And you can see there amongst the crowd, it's bare arms, it's shirt sleeves. I don't see any shorts, but it's still a very, very pleasant day here in Louisiana. Well, Brett Ward was the winner of that one in kart 131, and Jenny Wade's hunted him down. Let's go down to trackside because Brett Ward, our race winner, talking with Jenny.
Okay, fantastic race. Brett, you just said it was hard, and also the start, you thought maybe you're going to get spun round there.
The start was very hard. It was a bit of an aggressive start by many others, and it was definitely a hard race, but really enjoyed it, and to come out with a win, hopefully we get the same for the main final. We need to.
Now, of course, the pole sitter, Kyle Kirkwood, had a little bit of bad luck and dropped way back. He came back through the field, but, you know, going into the final, how are you feeling about the competition here? Because it's really, really close.
Yeah. Competition all weekend's been very tough, very hard. Everyone's great drivers, everyone got a ticket to be here, so we're all great. Just hopefully we can have a good race and win the final.
Well, you just said to me it's great to win this, but the all-important one is the last one.
Yeah.
So you think you make any more changes to the kart at this point?
We can have a little look what to change, but definitely definitely need to win the main final. It's not about the pre-final.
No, of course, I think the guys are really excited over there, but one more to go. It's going to be hard work. We wish you luck, and yeah, it's great racing. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Brett got his priorities clear. Yes, it was great to win the pre-final. Yes, that puts me on pole for the final, but it's winning the final that counts. Well done, Brett Ward. Well done to Yori Vips and Tom Harvey and Luke Selican, not so very far behind him. Well, our next track action is due away in, 5 minutes, and this will be the senior pre-final. And it's not been such good news, this one, for the United States of America. This is the only real, well, I won't say disappointing class, but the only class of the senior classes, and including the Micromax and Minimax, where we've not had Americans way at the front of this one. I think the nearest starter to the front is Nick Neary on the 7th row. Nick, of course, former Minimax, Junior Max and Senior Max champion in the United States. Okay, coming up, the senior pre-final, Ollie Hodgson on pole position, joined on the front row by another Estonian driver, Arvo Talvar. Oliver Hodgson is from England, Arvo Talvar from Estonia. It's an all-Scandinavian row 2 with Philip Morin of Sweden and Martin Henkel Mortensen of Denmark. The third row, Carlos Gil of Spain, who qualified on pole position after the qualifying practice, pole position throughout the heats, and the world champion, Charlie Eastwood from Ireland, starts on the inside of row 3. Carlos Gil's brother is immediately behind him, Albert Gil of Spain, on the inside of row 4, alongside Ed Brand from England. Row 5, it's an all-British affair, Max Aitken from England, Kyle Fowley from Scotland. Row 6 is an all-Australian affair, Daniel Rochford and Pierce Lehane. Row 7, the American champion of 2012, Nick Neary, lining up with Austrian driver Maxi Weinziel. On row 8, Tyler Greenbury. Tyler had his birthday earlier in the week. He's alongside Peter Betzel from the Czech Republic on row 8. Philip Arscott from the United States lines up with Nathan Parkins of South Africa on row 9. And the top 20 is completed on row 10 by Sandor Jakab of Slovakia and last year's world champion in juniors, Harry Webb, stepping up to seniors on row 10. Sam Shippers and Bruno Bolido are row 11. Zach Clemandamello and Ollie Askew are in all North American row 12. Oliver Askew, the American champion. Zav Potsoli and Kasper Bileski are European row 13. Musashi Nakanishi of Japan, Jesper Magnusson of Sweden, row 14. And the top 30 completed by Brian Ayrden of Holland and Alfredo Zabalsa of Mexico. Outside the top 30, Cairo Kivi of Estonia and Jorge Vitar of Argentina are on row 16. And the grid is completed by American driver Andrew Palmer and from Hungary, Mark Ferenc. Well, the heats in seniors were run over 10 laps. The pre-final is going to be run over 14 laps. Scheduled away at 10:35 with 2 minutes away from the start. The senior class is sponsored by AMV Wheels. We thank AMV Wheels for their sponsorship of this class. You see the 1 minute to go board. To the right of your screen is Oliver Hodgson in the dark racing suit. In the blue and white racing suit in the upper left of the front row, Arvo Talvar in the Estonia colours. Philip Morin on row 2, you'll see by the all-blue race suit, and Martin Henkel Mortensen of Denmark, predominantly white, but with red. Carlos Gill in shot at the bottom left of your screen, and you can just see the right leg of the world champion, Charlie Eastwood, just easing that throttle, the left leg also having a little tweak. You don't see Charlie Eastwood, but you do see his legs. Race director Nigel Edwards just explaining what he wants to see and what he doesn't want to see. Nigel Edwards, leading international race director in karting worldwide, walking away to his position as the senior drivers go out on track for the first of their formation laps. Just give you a little smile, guys, from that previous race. Brett Ward was collared by Jenny Wade for an interview, and when Jenny came up to him, he said, "What have I done? What have I done?" He thought he was being fetched to the stewards. Well, Brett, you weren't. You were being fetched for an interview for winning the race. Oliver Hodgson is on pole position. Arvo Talvar joins him on the front row. Philip Morin and Martin Henkel Mortensen are row 2. Carlos Gill and the world champion Charlie Eastwood are on row 3. And we're racing, and Oliver Hodgson gets a good start, so does Arvo Talvar. Arvo Talvar takes a big wide sweep and goes through in second place. Sadly, we've lost a lot of the mid or upper mid-grid drivers. I can tell you that Ollie Hodgson leads from Arvo Talvar. I think one of the guys that we lost in that little melee, well, I won't say what I think. Let's wait until we can tell you with absolute certainty. I think one of the Gill brothers has gone out there. KART 245 Jill has noted. Carlos Gil, who won the qualifying competition, started the heats in pole position throughout the race days on Thursday and Friday morning, started this one on row 3 and goes out of the competition. You can see his desolate figure just padding around. Really, really unlucky for Carlos Gil. Now the race has been stopped under a red flag, so we may have a total restart, and that may work to the advantage of Carlos Gil. He wasn't under power when the red flag came out. He wasn't in the cart, but it may be a reprieve. Well, just trying to have a look and see why the red flag was drawn. We don't see any incident being attended to. It may well simply be that that was thought that in the interest of a good sporting competition that we had to have the start. They had to have the red flag. Well, the pictures speak for themselves, guys. The senior race has been red flagged on the opening lap. Carlos Gil did go out on the first bend, but he was not injured in any way. We wait to see how we come to get restarted. 255 that you see there is Martin Henkel Mortensen. He will start on the second row, just getting out of the cart. Alongside him is Philip Morin. Philip Morin standing, the blue race suit and his name on the back. Folded arms in front of you is Arvo Talvar. And the poleman, Oliver Hodgson, in cart 259. Just thinking to himself, I made a good start there, but now I've got to do it all again. Somebody just coming round from the back of the grid outside, and I think he's being allowed to restart, so all of the drivers will go to the restart. That's not an official announcement by me, it's just the evidence of my eyes as I look out of the window. Well, I just hear Nigel Edwards' voice saying, okay guys, let's go for it. So it looks to me, or sounds to me, as if we're going to have a restart very, very shortly. So there's the view as we look down towards the start of the grid. The photographers, there is Nigel Edwards to the right, just having a word. I think that's Patrick, I can't be 100% sure. Yes, it is Nigel Edwards, the race director, talking with our good friend Patrick. Paul Classen to the bottom right of your screen, the chief scrutineer. Philippe, one of our top photographers to the left of your screen, a former winner of the CIK World Karting Photographer Championship. Charlie Eastwood in cart 210 to the lower centre of your screen. Just behind him, cart 281, Albert Gill, looking a little bit concerned. His brother Carlos Gill just pushing cart number 245 into his place on the third row. So he does get a reprieve. Well, there's a colourful bunch. Hey, are you tuned in Australia? G'day, g'day to all of my friends in Australia. There's your folks. I can see down there Ben George, the former world champion in DD2. They're the guys in the lime green colours just to the lower middle of your screen. At the top end, the amber colours, I think they're the Swedes. I think they're the supporters from Sweden at the top middle of your screen, and at the very, very top I can see some Canadians and, well, quite a mix altogether. Gentleman in the bottom left just going out of view was lighting a cigarette, so good that we don't focus on that. Interests of health, you understand. Well, a nice collection there of people from many different countries, and of course there's many different countries on track as well. This is from behind the start. At the back of the grid on the left-hand side, cart 250 is Mark Ferenc of Canada. once again will be starting last. To the right there, 276 is Andrew Palmer from the United States. I'm not anticipating Andrew Palmer from the United States to finish in last place. Well, there we go. Oh, I thought the lady was going to be texting someone, just merely clutching her cell phone. We say mobile phone in United Kingdom. I think you say cell phone more readily in North America. Well, race director Nigel Edwards telling the guys what he wants to see and what he doesn't want to see. Arnaldo Frias, I think that was, from Portugal, walking down the bottom of the screen. Chantal just going through the screen at the bottom. Chantal Boisclair. Anxious time this for the drivers, because it's not easy to control your nerves sometimes, but there's clearly something totally unsatisfactory which the officials have seen, and I'm being told that 281 has come off the grid, which is Albert Gill. Albert Gill, the younger brother, or the not sure he is the younger brother, the brother of Carlos Gill, scheduled to start this one on 4th row, has come off the grid. There's a gap on the inside of the 4th row, and Albert Gill looking as if he may be a non-starter in the senior pre-final, having qualified in 7th place. That's unlucky. Immediately behind him would be Max Aitken of England, so he's, well, he doesn't have to slot too quickly into that 4th row, but he has nobody immediately in front of him. He lines up on row 5 with the Scotsman Kyle Fowley. Okay, we try again. Reminder that this is the Rotax World Challenge Grand Finals 2013. We're here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Louisiana, about half an hour's drive from downtown New Orleans. I'm Ken Walker. My considerable privilege and honor to be here. I love coming to the United States of America. Come to one or two of your series in the USA, but of course the first time ever that the Rotax World Challenge is coming to, or has come to the United States, and my privilege to be with you here. The driver at the back that you see, 276, is Andrew Palmer of the United States of America, Team USA. I think I'm hearing that there'll be one rolling lap and then we will start. One rolling lap before we start. But Albert Gill looks to be a non-starter in KART 281. And we've also apparently lost Jesper Magnusson. Jesper Magnusson of Sweden. I know a lot of you are tuned in Sweden. Well, that's really unlucky. I think we've lost Jesper Magnusson. Jill just pointing out he would have started on the outside of row 14, so he wasn't a front runner, but he was a runner. And Jesper Magnusson may well be a non-starter, and Albert Gill of Spain also potentially a non-starter. 14-lap race for the seniors. We are now a good 10 minutes overdue, so we will just run a little bit late for the rest of the morning with the other two pre-finals. DD2 Masters and DD2 pre-finals still to come. We've already run the Micro Max, Mini Max and Junior pre-finals. Well, once again, from myself, Ken Walker, but also from all of us in the KART-DATA team, big thank you for you tuning in to us. KART-DATA is the official timekeeper of the event, but in addition, providing you with these images as the Franz from KART-DATA saying to the officials that the formation is satisfactory. So we're looking for the start. Oliver Hodgson on pole, Arvo Talvar joining him. And we're racing. And car number 281, Albert Gill, will start from pit lane. And again, there's been some bumping. But again, it's Oliver Hodgson getting a big lead. Arvo Talvar and Philip Morin are 2 and 3. Just trying to check the order. I think Philip Morin got through there. Oh dear, we've lost more drivers on the opening 2. And Jesper Magnussen starts from pit lane, and Albert Gill starts from pit lane. But they're not only last, they're half a lap behind. And I'm afraid, although they're in the pre-final, they're already uncompetitive. But Oliver Hodgson, well, he says, I'm okay, I don't mind. I'm leading the pre-final on the opening lap by about 12 to 14 kart lengths. Philip Morin and Arvo Talvar been having a good dice behind him, and then it's quite a little gap to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. But Oliver Hodgson from pole position leads the drivers round to complete the opening lap. Oliver Hodgson leading, Philip Morin 2nd, Arvo Talvar 3rd, pushing hard Arvo Talvar. I don't mean pushing in contact terms, I mean in metaphorical terms. Well, I'm going to be brave and take my eyes off those front running 3 to tell you that Carlos Gil 4th, Ed Brand 5th, Charlie Eastwood, the world champion 6th, Martin Henkel Mortensen 7th, Kyle Fowley 8th, Daniel Rochford 9, another Aussie, Pierce Lehane, completing the top 10. Nick Neary, the American champion, down in 22nd place. Andrew Palmer, the American who started 33rd, is up to 21st on the opening lap. Andrew Palmer from 33rd to 21st on the opening lap. I mentioned that Max Aitken had a big advantage on row 5 because Albert Gill didn't start in front of him. It hasn't worked because Max Aitken is down in 23rd place. Ollie Hodgson's lead is 1.1 seconds as they move away. Arvo Talvar, having got past Philip Morin, I rather sensed that would happen while I read the top 10. But the drivers outside of the top 3 are part of the scene, as well as those that are right at the front. Kyle Fowley in 7th place, just tracking the world champion Charlie Eastwood. That's a Celtic challenge. Charlie Eastwood from Ireland, Kyle Fowley from Scotland, and they're behind Ed Brand from England. So the British Isles strongly represented in 5th, 6th and 7th place, and the British Isles also represented by race leader Oliver Hodgson from England. 241 definitely out of the competition is Maxi Weinziel. Maxi Weinziel from Austria in kart 241. I said out of the competition. He's not out of the competition, but he is out of this race. So he will be able to start the final, but he'll be well down. Oliver Hodgson, well, just getting a little bit of a twitch there, maybe a controlled slide. And Carlos Gil has gone past Philip Morin. Carlos Gil goes past the Swede, so the Spaniard going past the Swede, and Philip Morin looking vulnerable now against Edward Brand and Charlie Eastwood. So a little bit of a crisis for Philip Morin at the moment. He's down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th now, as those drivers from the British Isles, Ed Brand of England, Charlie Eastwood of Ireland, Kyle Fowley of Scotland, getting themselves well and truly around Philip Morin, who drops from 3rd to 5th. Oliver Askew running outside the top 10, but in 12th place. Well, you can come from the back here because Andrew Palmer climbed way up from the back when I called those numbers previously. Philip Arscott running in 14th place. Nick Neary, it's not been a happy world final so far for Nick Neary. He's running 17th at the moment as the leaders set off on lap 5. Oliver Hodgson, England 1. Arvo Talvar, Estonia 2. Carlos Gil of Spain 3. Charlie Eastwood, the world champion from Ireland 4. Kyle Fowley from Scotland 5. Philip Morin from Sweden 6. Ed Brand from England 7. Martin Henkel Mortensen from Denmark 8, Peter Betzel from the Czech Republic 9, and in his birthday week, Tyler Greenbury of Australia completing the top 10. Nick Neary going up a place, I think, to 16th. Harry Webb has gone right to the back, the world champion in juniors last year, not working for him in this one, in 32nd place at the moment, but still circulating. This is lap 5, coming round to complete lap 5 and start lap 6. Oliver Hodgson's got a very healthy margin, 1.4 seconds. Arvo Talvar still 2nd, but then a good battle for 3rd and 4th. Charlie Eastwood behind Carlos Gil. Just stay with Charlie Eastwood and Carlos Gil. Middle of your screen now. those two Tony Kart race suits. They are Carlos Gil in front of Charlie Eastwood behind. That's third and fourth, the battle. Just in front of them, Arvo Talvar, but at the top of your screen, turning right at the end of the extended home straight, that's Oliver Hodgson, but Charlie Eastwood goes third. Charlie Eastwood, the world champion, getting himself into third place at the start of lap 6. A 14-lap race, so there's plenty of racing still to be had in this senior pre-final. Well, Carlos Gil sticking to Charlie Eastwood, isn't it? Oh, I say that, but Charlie's rumbled a kart length in front of the Spaniard. So Charlie Eastwood's next little target is Arvo Talvar in front. Now, I often say this in commentary. I'll ask you, you tell me, will Charlie Eastwood want to fight for these remaining 7 laps to try to get second or first? Or is Charlie Eastwood going to say, you know what? I'll just stick around where I am, start the final on the inside of the second row and race my 20-lap final from there. Confirmation of the all British Isles represented in the top 6. Oliver Hodgson from England leads, Kyle Fowley from Scotland is 5th, Ed Brand from England is 6th, we haven't got the Welshman there, misread that, and Charlie Eastwood from Northern Ireland 3rd. Great drive by the Welshman in juniors. Tom Harvey went from 27th up into about 5th, was it? Nick Neary, the former champion in the USA, running 14th, and he's a little bit behind Philip Arscott as we speak. Max Aitken, who started on the 5th row with a gap in front of him, out of the top 20 at the moment in 21st place. Zach Clement de Mello, the Canadian, only 23rd as you see. Jorge Vitar of Argentina, 22nd. Andrew Palmer is 25th and he started 33rd, but that represents a fall. Andrew Palmer had climbed a lot higher up the chart than that, falling to 25th, and Alfredo Zabalza of Mexico, he's raced with us in Europe this year, dropping down to 26th. And karts in 31st and 32nd place are Bruno Bolido and Sandor Jakab. Well, here's a potential move, and that's Charlie Eastwood, I think, going through. Yes, he is. So Charlie Eastwood goes into second place. Charlie Eastwood goes past Arvo Talvar, and Charlie Eastwood now has a small matter of 2 seconds to find Ollie Hodgson, the Irishman chasing the Englishman. 2 seconds to be found. This is the 9th lap of 14, so it can be done. Let's have a look at the times. Charlie Eastwood has done a 56.713. Fastest of everybody on that lap, 56.713. Ollie Hodgson in the lead, 56.856. But if you're an Ollie Hodgson fan, you could say, well, Ollie's got a lead of virtually 2 seconds. He doesn't have to go 100 100ths. And into second place now, Arvo Talvar. Arvo Talvar going back on Charlie Eastwood. That wasn't in Charlie's book. And kart 245, Carlos Gil saying, look, if you two guys are going to mess around, I'll come in and take a piece of the action. So second, third and fourth is a really tight battle now. Arvo Talvar second, Charlie Eastwood third, Carlos Gil fourth. And all of a sudden this senior race has got really hot in second, third and fourth places. Just wonder how Charlie came to surrender. That's perhaps not fair to Arvo Talvar. Let's credit Arvo with having created the opportunity to go second. It was speed down the back straight, Jill's telling me, as I was looking elsewhere on the screen. Speed down the back straight, coming to the... And Charlie's going for it 10/10, clipping the curb. This is Arvo Talvar in front of Charlie Eastwood and Carlos Gil coming down this long, long straight, but Charlie Eastwood goes back and Carlos Gil goes with him. So Oliver Hodgson is the leader as we start lap 11. In second place now, it's Charlie Eastwood, the world champion. In third place, Carlos Gil of Spain, and Arvo Talvar, without having done an awful lot wrong, suddenly finds himself fourth. Behind those guys and closing on them, it's Kyle Fowley in 5th place, Peter Betzel 6th, you saw him in shot there. Oliver Askew from the United States is the 7th place driver. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just coming into shot. Well, not quite. But Oliver Askew, the American champion, he's gone past the likes of Ed Brand, who's running 8th, Philip Maureen, who's running 9th, Martin Henkel-Mortensen, who's running 10th. So a good effort this by the American champion, Oliver Askew, in kart 272. Well, Charlie Eastwood and Carlos Gill having a good dice for second and third as Oliver Hodgson sets off on lap 12. Arvo Talva ever so slightly detached. Kyle Fowley about 2.5 kart lengths behind Arvo Talva. And Carlos Gill going past Charlie Eastwood. Carlos Gill goes into second place and Kyle Fowley says, I'll have a piece of this. And he goes past Arvo Talva into fourth place. So Oliver Hodgson leads by a big margin. Carlos Gill second, Charlie Eastwood third, Kyle Fowley fourth, and Arvo Talva now fifth. Behind them, it's Peter Betzel and Oliver Askew from the USA. Peter Betzel from the Czech Republic. Going back down onto this long, fast straight, there is a back marker in sight there, but I don't think he's going to come into play because he's about 90 yards in front of them. That wasn't the back marker I was seeing, it was Oliver Askew that I was seeing. Oliver Askew sets off, Oliver Hodgson. Oliver Hodgson setting off, and Kyle Fowley going on an extravagant line to try to get a slingshot, but it's these two guys in second and third that catches our eye. Carlos Gill and Charlie Eastwood having a fabulous dice. Again, I asked the question, if you were Carlos Gill, if you were Charlie Eastwood, do you want to finish the pre-final second for an outside front row start in the final? Would you like to finish the pre-final third for an inside second row start? Of course, the danger is if you just turning the gas off the tiniest little bit, does these fast guys behind you, Kyle Fowley, Arvo Talva, Peter Betzel, Ed Brand, blast through. The top 7 are well clear. Oh, and again we're seeing a really piece of late braking. Oliver Hodgson leading by this big margin. Second place, Carlos Gill. Third place, Charlie Eastwood. Kyle Fowley fourth, and it was Peter Betzel who blasted past Arvo Talva that I saw, that I didn't call by name. Peter Betzel is now the 5th place driver. Well, I go back to the basic monitor. Your race director, your television director, Andreas Holzleitner, got you the best of the race here. Those pictures of the guys at the front, it's Carlos Gill and Charlie Eastwood in the Tony Kart racing suits, not racing Tony Karts, however. Everybody in senior, in fact, everybody is in the same chassis. These are the Sodi Karts in seniors. Here is Oliver Hodgson in a big lead. This is Carlos Gill and Charlie Eastwood. Carlos Gill got the advantage. Oliver Hodgson wins it. Oliver Hodgson wins it after 14 laps. Carlos Gill comes home in second place, and the world... Charlie Eastwood got second. So he did. Jill just prompted me. I thought that was Carlos Gill. Jill telling me that Carlos Gill backed off. Well, Charlie Eastwood's a wily campaigner. You don't get to be a world champion without being a wily campaigner. And Charlie Eastwood will start this on the outside of the front row. Carlos Gill will start on the inside of row 2. And I have to say that regardless of which of those guys was playing games with the other one, they were very worthy finishers in the top 3. Oliver Hodgson, though, had 3.5 seconds on those guys behind him. So Oliver Hodgson with the fastest lap of 56.631. That wasn't the outright fastest lap, because Kyle Fowley went faster at 56.529 and Ed Brand did a 56.40. But Oliver Hodgson won it by 3.5 seconds and will start the final on pole position. Now, let's have a look at this final. Yeah, Carlos Gill putting his hand up as if to say, hey, I'm not under power. But what he's really doing is saying, I want to start the final on the inside of row 2 rather than the outside of the front row. Well, maybe Charlie Eastwood was conned a little bit there, but hey, he starts the final on the front row. It's going to be everybody in the mix when we do start there. Confirmation of Oliver Hodgson's victory by 3.5 seconds. That finish at the end with Charlie Eastwood being eased past Carlos Gil by Carlos suggesting he was not under power. Good drive by Kyle Fowler to fourth. Arvo Talvar again may feel a little disappointed. Led the race at one stage, always didn't lead, sorry, was second at one stage, led the chasing pack. Will start on the inside of row 3. He may not be displeased with that. Nick Neary gets a fourth row start in the final after having been outside of the top 10 for a long time. And Philip Arscott gets a sixth row start for the Americans, again having made good progress through the field. Max Aitken did climb from outside the top 20 to 17th. Andrew Palmer did extremely well to go from 33rd to 21st, but he actually got himself a lot higher than that at one point, but that's better than starting last. Sam Shippers in 25th place will feel that he might have done a little bit better, no doubt. And Albert Gill in 29th place, a reminder that he had to start from pit lane. Now, the disaster from the United States point of view, which I didn't see how he went out, Oliver Askew, who got himself into the top 10, the American champion, with 3 laps to go, found himself having an issue and going out of the race. We also lost Sandor Jakab and Harry Webb, but Harry Webb, of course, the world champion in juniors last year. They weren't so well placed as Oliver Askew. Oliver Askew, a good bet for a podium place in seniors. It's going to be hard now for Oliver. He's going to have to start the final on the 16th row. Well, I think that Oliver Hodgson is going to be talking with Jenny Wade in a moment or two. Let's see if we get down to her shortly. Oliver Hodgson and Jenny Wade in just a moment.
Oliver, now, fantastic race, but you had an incredible gap there. Did you expect to win it so easy?
I didn't expect the race to go like that, to be honest. I thought it'd be lots of overtaking, lots of changes for the lead, but I just got my head down and focused on putting laps in consistently. Then I happened to look behind towards the end and saw that I had a gap. I don't know whether the group of carts behind me had a squabble, not quite sure. I think I was quite lucky in the end because with about 2 laps to go, my front left tyre started to go flat, so we just made it to the end before it got too bad, really.
Yeah, it was a great finish, and I saw you looking down there when you came into the pit, so really lucky. Pole position for the final. Now, we saw you last night on the studio, and you said you were really happy to be here, but you've worked hard for this, so we'll be watching and see what happens in the final. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver. Oliver Hodgson, the winner of the senior pre-final. Carts are still on. Carts are immediately back out on track because it's the DD2 Masters coming out next. And whereas we had a big disappointment for the United States with Oliver Askew going out late on, that was on lap 13 of a 14-lap final. So he was a lap and a half from a finish. But we've got a good United States presence here, led by the man on pole position, Alan Rudolph. Small matter of the world champion alongside him, Cristiano Magado from South Africa. Tiago Ribeiro, Portugal, and Fernando Guzzi of Brazil, row 2. Chris Adams, a double champion at this level previously with Dallas, Texas, Mike Jones on row 3. Jose Luis Chicharo of Spain and Marc Bateau, one of 2 brothers for France, on row 4. Scott Campbell in his 10th World Final, and Adam Hunter got lots of fans being tweeting in, completing the top 10. Martin Victorson, a former podium man at this level, and Juan Pablo Salerno, row 6. Morgan Hipp and Michael Dauphin, a all-French row 7. Yuji Sato and Roberto Azana, row 8. Carlos Medina, Mexico, Patricio Larrea of Venezuela, Patricio Larrea from Ecuador, not Venezuela, Ilya Aloskins of Latvia, Derek Wang from the state of Washington near Seattle in the United States, completing the top 20 on row 10. Guillaume Berthaud, brother of Marc Berthaud. He's on row 11th with Brazilian Josmar Vasconcelos. Martin Pearce of Ireland, hi to Claire and Elizabeth. Daniel Richard of Australia on row 12. Okay, let's see them come in for the start then. On pole position, Alan Rudolph. Joining him on the front row, the world champion, Cristiano Magado. A 14-lap race. And Cristiano Magado's got the jump on Alan Rudolph, but the turn is going to come to the advantage of the American. So Alan Rudolph leads, Cristiano Magado in second place. And I think that's Cristiano Magado taking the lead. Now the turn favours the South African, and the world champion does get in front of the driver from Arizona. Have to say to those of you American fans tuning in, been really impressed with Alan Rudolph. Cristiano Magado, 3 times a world champion, the defending champion at this level, won 2 on the bounce, but Alan Rudolph has been his equal up to now. Right now, Alan Rudolph just tracking Cristiano Magado. Fernando Guzzi going well. Mike Jones from the Dallas Kart Center also, but Cristiano Magado from the outside of the front row, leading the poleman Alan Rudolph at the end of the opening lap, and Brazilian driver Fernando Guzzi in third place, and Alan Rudolph bids to take the lead and takes the lead. Alan Rudolph back in the lead, but Cristiano Magado says, no Alan, I can't let you do that. Jumps in front, and now Alan Rudolph finds that he's got Fernando Guzzi and Christoph Adams vying, and all of a sudden Cristiano Magado, from a very tight situation where he lost the lead, is now in a happy place with a 5-kart length lead. That's as tight as it gets. The DD2 Masters massively strength in depth in this particular category all year, elsewhere in the world as well as in the Rotax World Finals. But all of a sudden, Cristiano Magado won his first world title in the 2003 Grand Finals, then has just won 2 on the bounce, last year in Portimao, Portugal, the year before that in Al Ain in the United Arab Emirates. He leads as we start lap 3. In second place, Alan Rudolph. Third is Christoph Adams, a double world champion at this level. There wasn't quite the same strength in depth then. Mike Jones, fourth for the United States, so 2 USA drivers in the top 4. Fernando Guzzi of Brazil 5th, Jose Chichara Spain 6th, Tiago Ribera Portugal 7th, Scott Campbell of Canada in his 10th world final out of 14 is 8th, Adam Hunter Australia 9th, and Marc Berthaud from Sologne Karting in Salbris, France, completing the top 10. Just a very quick look down. Derek Wang has driven up to 15th place. Michael Dauphin of France, who was very strong early on, is in the pits and effectively out of the race. Jussi Lailavuo of Finland, likewise out of the race. Very unlucky for those guys. Scott Falcone has had issues. Scott Falcone back in 28th place. This is the start of lap 4. Cristiano Magado leading from Alan Rudolph. Christoph Adams beginning to put just a little bit of a hint of pressure on Alan Rudolph. Christoph Adams, let me just quickly look and see when he won his world titles. Christoph Adams was the world title at 2009 in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, and in 2007 in Al Ain, United Arab Emirates. So it's the Arab countries where Christoph Adams gives of his best. Cristiano Magado from Durban in South Africa, with connections to Portugal and connections to Mozambique in East Africa, got a lead of 0.9 of a second at the end of lap 3, and it does look as if he's got a similar lead coming round to start lap 5. There's a mechanical defects flag being shown, don't know who that's going to. Chris Magado from Alan Rudolph, Christoph Adams, and has Christoph Adams just got past? No, he hasn't, not got past Alan Rudolph, but was giving it a good shot. Fernando Guzzi of Brazil still 4th. Little bit of a gap then to Jose Chicharo in 5th place. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, quite a big gap then to Mike Jones, and there goes the move by Cristiano Magado, and Alan Rudolph and Cristiano Magado changing places again. Christoph Adams Sorry, I said Cristiano Magado, I meant Christoph Adams. My mistake in saying that. It was Alan Rudolph and Christoph Adams I was saying, not Cristiano Magado. Chris Magado in a very big lead, 0.8 of a second. It was 0.9 of a second, but it was Christoph Adams and Alan Rudolph who traded places. A wrong call by me, and my apologies. Fernando Guzzi of Brazil now looking strong in 4th place. Jose Chichara a little bit detached in 5th. So Cristiano Magado is being hunted down. The lead back up to 0.9 of a second. Alan Rudolph and Christoph Adams were the guys that traded places 2nd and 3rd. That just had the effect of taking what might have been a build-up of pressure from Cristiano Magado. Now guys, those of you that don't know this triple world champion, he's the guy whose body language, body English in a track is very pronounced. Exaggerated inclination of the head to the left as he comes round onto this long back straight. Well, he's not going to incline his head on the long back straight, but when we get into the tight turns, have a look at the race leader Cristiano Magado, just how he inclines his head. There you saw a small version of it. If we stay with him to turn 1, there goes the head again a little bit round. His advantage 0.79 of a second, and as our graphic shows you, it's been as high as 0.95 just 1 lap ago, and it was 0.822 laps ago. So the message from the timing of KART-DATA is that Alan Rudolph is pulling in Cristiano Magado, but holding off Fernando Guzzi. Fernando Guzzi had 0.4 of a seconds to make up on the previous lap. That's extended now to 0.57 as our graphic shows you. Cristiano Magado, well, he's not doing what I wanted him to do for you and show you the exaggerated head movement, but you will see that at some stage. Dipping his head low down is Alan Rudolph. Really put a lot of distance between himself and Fernando Guzzi, and Christoph Adams, who at one time was really making serious attempts at getting into 2nd place and achieving it briefly, now back in 4th place because Fernando Guzzi looking very strong. Chris Magado's lead, though, is being eaten into by Alan Rudolph. Well, where does the strategy kick in, I ask you? This is a 14-lap race, and we're on lap 8. The final is over 20 laps. Put yourself in that 2nd-placed cart of Alan Rudolph. Does Alan Rudolph say, I'm not going to scream at 110% to try to chase down the world champion. Let me control my own race from 2nd place. I'll start on the front row, and we've got 20 laps to see who's best. Well, there's my answer to my own question. No, he is not thinking that way. He's looking behind him and thinking, hey, here's the Brazilian, Fernando Guzzi coming. I don't really want to lose 2nd place to him. But Fernando Guzzi's mindset is, I am good enough, fast enough to go into 2nd place, and that's what I'm pitching for. Cristiano Magado leads on lap 9. The South African has a margin now of a full second on Alan Rudolph from Arizona here in the United States of America. Fernando Guzzi of Brazil in 3rd place. Christoph Adams, who got himself a little bit detached, is hanging on in 4th place. Christoph Adams, the double world champion, is well clear of 5th place Adam Hunter and 6th place Jose Chicharo. Mike Jones from Dallas, Texas has slipped down to 7th, having been a little bit higher up than that. Scotty Campbell from Canada in his 10th world final, a record. We've had people in 8 world finals, we've had people in 7 consecutive world finals. Scott Campbell is on his own with 10 world finals out of 14 to his credit. He's running 9th in front of Tiago Ribeiro 10th. Just outside the top 10, Martin Pearce of Ireland 11th. A winner at this level. He was a Masters champion, was Martin Pearce. I think that was at Langkawi, Malaysia, that he got his best place. And he also had a good one at, let me see, Sharm el Sheikh. Again, I'll just have a peep at my notes to make sure I'm not talking some of my usual Ken Walker nonsense. Yes, it was in Langkawi, Malaysia, that Martin Pearce had his best ever result, and that was back in 2001 and back in 2005. We're on lap 10 of a 14-lap senior pre-final. Cristiano Magado from Durban, South Africa. Say hi to my friends in South Africa. And there's a change into second place, is it? Yes, it is. Fernando Guzzi goes past Alan Rudolph, and Christoph Adams says, well, there's a gap. I'll take a slice of it as well. And Christoph Adams goes from 5th to 3rd, which if the position stayed like this, Christoph Adams would think to himself, hey, that's handy, starting the final on the inside of the second row. And right now, Alan Rudolph, who's been so good in this class so far, is just in the wrong place on lap 11 of 14. And Alan Rudolph going back into, no, he isn't, not quite, made the effort, because Alan Rudolph would not want to start on the outside of row 2. Outside of the front row might have been okay, but outside of row 2, no. The inside of row 2 would have been better, and Christoph Adams now being called upon to defend that place. Cristiano Magado leads. Fernando Guzzi is 2nd. Christoph Adams is 3rd. Alan Rudolph is 4th, and taking close order in 5th place is Adam Hunter from Australia. He's got himself a little bit in front of Jose Chicharo running 6th. Daniel Richards 7, Tiago Ribeiro 8, Mike Jones 9th, Scott Campbell 10th. Derek Wang up to 12th place for the United States. Scott Falcone up a couple of places. Well, he drops a place. He's dropped 2 places. Oh, as I spoke of Scott Falcone going up to 25th, he drops to 29th. Cristiano Magado seemingly in control of this one, bidding for a world record 4th Rotax title. Even if he won that, he might not be the outright record holder, because Ben Cooper in DD2 Open coming up next in a similar position. Mechanical defects flag being shown, and the last lap board being shown. No, it's not the last. Yes, it is the 13th lap of 14. It's the penultimate lap, 2 to go. So the board that was being shown was not the last lap board, it was the number of the driver getting the mechanical defects flag. Cristiano Magado's lead on the circuit. There you see it on screen. These are the guys battling. You see Fernando Guzzi in 2nd place, and then Alan Rudolph tracking down Christoph Adams. Alan Rudolph really wants to get past Chris Adams, but he hasn't got to do anything that's over extravagant and let Adam Hunter through. The battle you see there is 3rd, 4th and 5th. There is your leader to the left. 2nd place driver fairly clear, Fernando Guzzi, and then that 3rd, 4th and 5th battle, Christoph Adams of Belgium racing under a French licence. And those 3, 4 and 5, they're now seeing the last lap board. That's definitely the last lap board. And Alan Rudolph unquestionably looking for a way past. A 4th place finish in the pre-final was not Alan Rudolph's preferred route into the final. Chris Magado on the last lap has got a lead of 1.4 seconds. Fernando Guzzi ought to be safe, the Brazilian in 2nd. Oh, and Christoph Adams makes a little bit of a mistake, and Alan Rudolph tried to punish it, but I think that, in fact, he has got through. Has he got through? Chris Adams, has he gone off? Oh, if he's gone off, back on, but Chris Adams loses out to Alan Rudolph. Adam Hunter also picking up the pieces, and that's a shame. That was, I don't have any, I'm totally neutral, don't have any favourites, but I did want to see a good close finish. Cristiano Magado wins the pre-final. In 2nd place, Fernando Guzzi, Adam Hunter 3rd, Alan Rudolph 4th, Christoph Adams 5th, and Alan Rudolph did get past Christoph Adams, but Adam Hunter said, I'm coming through as well, and Alan Rudolph from the United States now has to contemplate a start in the final on the outside of row 2. However, the final will be over 20 laps. You're starting on the 2nd row, you're in with a shout, aren't you? Let me give you that call over. Cristiano Magado winning it from Fernando Guzzi 2nd and Adam Hunter in 3rd place. Alan Rudolph 4th, Christoph Adams an eventful 5th place drive, Jose Chichara 6, Daniel Richard 7, Tiago Ribeiro 8, Scott Campbell's 9th, and the Dallas Karting Centre's Mike Jones completing the top 10 at number 10. Other American drivers, Derek Wang finished 12th, but Scott Falcone did not complete the full race distance. He will start the final on 16th row. Interesting race, those, for the DD2 Masters. Some disappointment, but the world champion saying, hey, I might not have won everything so far. There you see him getting out. Well done, guys. That's really sporting. I do like to see that. Fernando Guzzi of Brazil goes onto the scale first. Jenny Wade motioning to Chris Magado, can we have a chat? Chris saying, yeah, but I need to just get on the scales first. And then I think we will be talking. 450 there is Adam Hunter of Australia. Again, good day to all my friends down in Oz. Adam Hunter got a lot of supporters in the United Kingdom, I'm told. They were tuning in. There is Cristiano Magado with his helmet off. 423 at the back of your screen there, I think, is Martin Victorson of Sweden. That was Martin Victorson. Adam Hunter goes through. So, I'm sure there's Christoph Adams to the left of your screen, having a little bit to say to Alan Rudolph. That would no doubt have been, well, dare I say this, if Christoph Adams is talking to Adam Rudolph, Chris would be explaining that the little issue between them was Alan's fault. That doesn't mean it was Alan's fault, it's just that I know Christoph Adams of 10 years. Well, a nice shot of the wildlife here at Nola Motorsport Park. A couple of egrets grazing there. World champion won that one by half a second. Fernando Guzzi, a good drive into second place. Adam Hunter picking up the pieces for a third place finish when Alan Rudolph and Chris Adams had a little bit of contact late on, but they all live to fight another day. The top five are going to be starting the final on the top three rows. Jose Luis Chichara a little bit detached in sixth place, but he gets a third row start as well. Scott Campbell and Mike Jones make a North American fifth row. And Jenny Wade is there with Cristiano Magado, the world champion. So as the screen rolls out to show us the drivers from 12th to 24th, we'll get ready to go down to Jenny, talking with the world champion, Cristiano Magado.
Chris Morgado, what an exciting start. You just said to me for what? I was also wondering, what on earth's going on? It's not the final.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the race was really good and got into the lead and had a gap. And then I just made a slight mistake on the last lap. It was a bit silly, but managed to hold on for the win, so it's fine. Now,
in lap 10, you set the quickest lap for you. You know, still getting quicker and quicker. This is the Cristiano Morgado that we know, why you are 3 times world number 1. Now, coming into the final, any changes, anything that you might have to change strategy, or is it really just now about focus?
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can find a bit extra speed, and we'll see what happens. I mean, you can't really predict these races, and I'm just grateful when I win, and you know, thank God I won that one, and hopefully have a good one in the final. Thank you.
You make it look so easy.
No, it definitely is not easy. I'm very happy with the result. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Well, Chris Magado was not having any of that from Jenny Wade about it's all easy or it looked easy. Chris Magado, a wily old campaigner, even though he has won that one by half a second, you're not going to tell him it was easy, and you're not going to tell him that the final's going to be a formality. Far from it. I do know that of Chris. Well, these guys are the DD2s coming up for their pre-final. We sponsor this class by KG. We thank KG for their sponsorship of the class. And a surprise packet on the front row. Kazimieris Vasiliauskas of Lithuania is on the front row. Sean Slavin of Scotland joins him on the front row. Mika Laiho, the European champion from Finland, is on row 2 with Joey Wimsett from the United States of America. Row 3, Matthias Detij and Zenderua are an all-Belgium row 3. Danny Formal, very, very unlucky in one of his heats yesterday when he went off when he was leading, but he qualifies for a row 4 start alongside Seamus Judavicius, making it 2 Lithuanians in the top 4 rows. Jason Pringle and Oriol Dalmau Caballero complete the top 10 on row 5. Happy birthday to Luca Canderli. Luca Canderli of South Africa is 21 today. He starts on row 6 with Philippos Kalesis of Greece. Pascal Marshall of Germany and Simon Wagner of Austria are row 7. Kevin Ludi of Switzerland and double world champion Pierre-Luc Ouellet from Canada, row 8. Reigning world champion Ben Cooper from Canada and Milan Donci from Netherlands, row 9. Dennis Toom of Germany and Sean Babington, British and European champion, complete the top 20 on row 10. Thomas Arm of England, Nelson Neto of Brazil, row 11. Brendan Nelson of Australia and Alexander Zenkin of Russia, row 12. Melvin Moe of Malaysia and Yuna Raito of Finland, row 13. Lucas Ward of Australia and Imre Buristo of Hungary, row 14. The top 30 completed by another Hungarian, Ferenc Kankshar, and a South African, Ryan Frost. Kazuso Nishia of Japan and Shane Crosby of Ireland are row 16. Martin Steinitz of Latvia and Luca Joly of France are completing the grid on row 17. This will be a 14-lap pre-final for the DD2 drivers. We have the reigning world champion. We have a double world champion. We have the American champion. We have the European champion. We have the Lithuanian driver to win for the first time ever for his country a CIK championship in Europe. We are not short of champions. We are not short of talent in this one. Bottom right of your screen, kart 344 was that? Well, kart 344 is Brendan Nelson of Australia. Looks quite tense, doesn't it? Well, once again, I'm Ken Walker. It's my very considerable privilege to be calling the races here. For those of you tuned in online, I'm not calling them on the circuit, which I was in some respects, but that's not to the exclusion of what I'm doing for you. It's as well as doing it for you. There is the podium that will be the focus of attention later on this afternoon. And you see from that Rotax banner to the right that a little bit of breeze just easing up. Not quite the balmy, warm day that it was first thing this morning when we drove onto the circuit at about 7:20 in very, very nice warm sunshine and blue skies. But still excellent racing conditions. The last of our pre-finals coming up. Kaz Vasiliauskas of Lithuania. For any race caller, Kazimieras Vasiliauskas of Lithuania would not be the ideal name you wanted to be calling regularly at the front of the race, but he's made the pole position for the pre-final. And whilst I can call his first name Kaz rather than Kazimieras, Vasiliauskas is his surname. Now, there you see that gorgeous blue sky that we had this morning, replaced now by some darker clouds, although we are told that the forecast is that the rain will not come. Don't have the bitter winds of earlier in the week. Not bitterly cold, the winds, but the wind is just picking up a little. KG is our sponsor of the DD2 class. Reminder that we're at the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals 2013 at NOLA Motorsports Complex, half an hour north of downtown New Orleans. My first visit to New Orleans, been to the United States for karting about a dozen times. Always love coming to this lovely country, but I've never been to New Orleans before. Went on the Mississippi Steamboat when I first came, on the Mississippi Steam paddle boat. That was a great experience. Walked down Bourbon Street, that was nice. Went in the French market. Had plenty of Cajun food, jambalaya and gumbo. We've had the filet gumbo and the jambalaya. I've not had any crawfish pie, just a little bit wary of the crawfish pie. Not that there's anything wrong with it around here, it's just me and seafoods. Red beans and rice, another typically Cajun dish down these parts. Rode the streetcars as well, that was fun. But right now, this is what we're really here for, the kart racing. On pole position, Kaz Vasiliauskas, joined on the front row by Sean Slavin. Mika Laiho and Joey Wimsett are row 2. Joey Wimsett you see there in kart 369, just behind Sean Slavin on row 2. Row 3, Matthias de Tige and Kassen de Rua. They're both Belgians. Here we go. 14 laps, the race distance. And we are not started. This is an aborted start. We are not starting. We are not starting. So we trundle round for another formation lap and just get the nerves to jangle a little bit more, and then we go racing. Thank you indeed from everybody at the KART-DATA organisation for tuning in. Thank you on behalf of Rotax for tuning in. Thank you for your interest. First time ever that the Rotax World Challenge Grand Finals has come to the United States of America. Not the first time it's come to the Americas. Did you know the very first Rotax World Challenge Grand Final ever was in Puerto Rico, Central America? Only one class, that was Rotax Max, what we now call the seniors. It took the 4th of the Rotax World Challenge Grand Finals to introduce the juniors. And of course the RM1s, as they were first called, they're called DD2 now, followed sometime after that. Well, these are DD2s, 2-speed karting, the only 2-speed karting in the entirety of motorsport or the karting world. Kaz Vasiliauskas on pole, Sean Slavin joining him on the front row. Hi to my friends in Scotland. Sean, of course, from Dumfries and Galloway. Here we go again. Lots steadier this time. And Kaz Vasiliauskas gets a good jump. And Sean Slavin bidding to go round the wide outside. It's not going to work, but Sean Slavin slotting in nicely in front of Mika Laiho. So at turn 2, Kaz Vasiliauskas leads. Sean Slavin is in 2nd place. Mika Laiho is in 3rd place. I think that might be Joey Wimsett in 4th for Team USA. But Kaz Vasiliauskas holding this narrow advantage in the early part of the DD2 pre-final from Sean Slavin, who's immediately inclining his head very severely, as if to say, I want to get absolutely everything from here. Not going to let you get away, Kaz. But Kaz kicks on as the whole field comes through. There is Kaz Vasiliauskas well to the right, and 3rd, 4th and 5th already trading places. Now I think I saw Danny Formal amongst the mix there. Kaz Vasiliauskas leads at the end of the opening lap. Sean Slavin 2nd, Joey Wimsett 3rd, Mika Laiho 4th, and my screen just playing up a little bit. Zenderuva 4th, Seamus Udavicius 5th, Danny Formal in 6th, and Mika Laiho, who I had called in 3rd place and who was in 3rd place, has shipped some places there. That was on the braking at the end of, we've lost Ryan Frost and Shane Crosby. The braking for the final lap was the undoing of Mika Laiho. He's now 7th. Luca Candeli on his 21st birthday for South Africa running 8th. Matthias de Tige of Belgium 9th. And Caballero of Spain completing the top 10. Ben Cooper, the world champion, is 14th at the end of the opening lap. Coming round now to start lap 4. To start lap 3. Kaz Vasiliauskas under pressure from Sean Slavin. Joey Wimsett in 3rd place. Zenderua in 4th. Seamus Udavicius 5th. These are the front runners. Kaz Vasiliauskas in the light race suit. Sean Slavin inclining his head to the right there, you saw. Third place driver Joey Wimsett clear of the chasing pack, and the chasing pack led by Senderua. You see him there. Immediately behind him is Seamus Udavicius, and then Danny Formal. Danny Formal moving out to just try to feint to make a move. Seamus Udavicius moved out with him to cover that. And Danny Formal really working that KART 368. Danny Formal at the moment in 6th place, but the Florida teenager, and Seamus Udavicius a little bit sharp on Danny Formal there, but Danny Formal makes the move into 5th place, if I've read that correctly. This is lap 4. So Danny Formal now in 5th place. Senderua still within his sights. Seamus Udavicius making a bit of a nuisance of himself behind. I say that in a sporting way, not in a naughty way. But Seamus Udavicius very, very ungainly in the kart. But if you were 6 feet 6 inches tall, might be difficult to fit your frame into a go-kart. Having said that, Danny Formal is not exactly small of stature, is he? That's Senderua you see in the middle of those series there. These are the front runners. Kaz Vasiliauskas leading Sean Slavin and Joey Wimsett. Then Senderua here that you see. Then Danny Formal, then Seamus Udavicius. 2 groups of 3. Kaz Vasiliauskas continues to lead Sean Slavin and Joey Wimsett. Joey Wimsett just a little bit, a good 1/10 of a second off Sean Slavin, but Sean Slavin within 2/10 of Kaz Vasiliauskas. Well, Kaz Vasiliauskas is not in a position to be challenged by Sean Slavin. Joey Wimsett maybe again feels comfortable in 3rd. Senderua under clear pressure now from Danny Formal. This is the challenge. This is 4th, 5th and 6th that you saw on screen. And Danny Formal in 5th place, the middle one of these, really putting pressure on Senderua. And as he does so, Seamus Udavicius. Senderua looks over his shoulder, as well he might. And Danny Formal bids to go to 4th and executes. Danny Formal, the American champion. Amazing statistic. Danny Formal won the DD2 American Championship on his DD2 racing debut and is up to 4th place as we set off on lap 6. In front of Danny, Kaz Vasiliauskas 1, Sean Slavin 2, Joey Wimsett 3, Danny Formal 4, so 2 Americans now in the top 4. Danny Formal, of course, coming from Florida, and that looks like Sean Slavin going out. Sean Slavin has got a mechanical defect, and Sean Slavin to the right of your screen in KART 376. The Scotsman having to say, guys, don't come and clatter into me. All I can do from here is tour in. Yeah, I know how you feel, Sean. It's the World Finals. You were in there for a potential start. Oh, this is Sean Slavin from the southwest of Scotland on his biggest ever stage, the World Finals. And guys, I say to you many times in commentary, race commentary, I am neutral, I'm totally neutral. It's not because I'm supporting a Brit, but I do feel badly there for Sean Slavin, having gone so well chasing Kaz Vasiliauskas. He goes out of the race. However, that's good news for the United States in the shape of their champion Danny Formal, because whilst Danny Formal, there he is coming in queue immediately, Senderua behind him, holding off the challenge of Seamus Udavicius. Well, Danny Formal's in 2nd place as we speak. Kaz Vasiliauskas of Lithuania got virtually 2.5 seconds, certainly 2.47 seconds of a lead. This is the end of the 7th lap, so we're starting lap 8, so we're at half race distance. And at the half race distance, let me give you the race call. Kaz Vasiliauskas of Lithuania leads. Daniel Formal, the American champion, is 2nd. Senderua of Belgium 3rd. Seamus Udavicius makes it 2 Lithuanians in the top 4. Joey Wimsett from the USA makes it 2 Americans in the top 5. Oriol Dalmau Caballero of Spain is 6th. Ben Cooper, the world champion, moves up to 7th for Canada. Luca Canderle, on his 21st birthday, moves up to 8th for South Africa. Jason Pringle for Australia is 9th. And Mika Laiho, the European champion from Finland, completes the top 10. Well, there's always hard luck stories to be had. And there's one or two now that we have to tell you about. We've lost Sean Babington, the British and European champion. We've lost Pierre-Luc Ouellet, twice the world champion. And we lost Sean Slavin in second place when he had some mechanical defect. Kaz Vasiliauskas sets off on lap 9 with a lead of 3.3 seconds over Danny Formal. Danny Formal has got 0.16 of a second to the good on Casenderua. And, well, hope that all of these championships, whoever win them, are won on merit on track and not with either collisions or mechanical problems. And Seamus Udavicius has gone past Senderua, hasn't he? The tall 6'6" Lithuanian, so 2 Lithuanians in the top 3 now. Now, for those of you here in North America, if at the start of the week I'd have said to you, where is Lithuania? Could you have found it on a map? I have to tell you something. Until I started doing kart race announcing, I'm not sure I could have found Lithuania on a map, and I'm a European. I live in the continent of Europe, or live on the continent of Europe. We're on lap 10 of 14 in the DD2 pre-final. Ben Cooper, the world champion, handily placed in 7th. If he was to stay there, he would start the final on the inside of row 4. You see the big wide sweep there that drivers are taking, and Jill has spotted something. Let me double check. Zenderua has gone off the pace. He's just done a 56.2 when Kaz Valiauskas has done a 55.0. So Zenderua falling back a little bit. Lithuania 1 and 2. Didn't expect to be saying that in the Rotax Grand Finals when I first started. There were no Lithuanians in my first World Final. That was the 2003 one, 11 years ago. Well, right now there's Lithuanians there. There's Kaz Vasiliauskas leading, and there's Seamus Udavicius in second place, which means that Danny Formal is relegated. Kart number 329 pushing in down below me is Pierre-Luc Ouellet. That's always a sad sight, anybody pushing in, but when it's a double world champion, just makes it a little bit more painful to see. But if it's painful for me to see, how much more painful is it for Pierre-Luc? It's not totally the end of the road, because all of these guys, Sean Babington, Pierre-Luc Ouellet, Sean Slavin, will start the final, but oh my, it's going to be an uphill drive. Kart number 335, Seamus Udavicius, getting well and truly into the mix, and 335, Seamus Udavicius and Danny Formal having a tremendous dice. Danny Formal just trying to get past the tall Lithuanian. The Lithuanian 6 feet 6 inches tall with blonde hair and blue eyes. What does that do for him? It gets him some expensive, or I should say it the other way, well-paid modelling contracts. A male model in Lithuania, but he's not doing anything like male modelling here. He's driving a hard race in front of Danny Formal second. Behind Danny Formal, Joey Wimsett third. The 2 Americans in the top 4 and the 2 Lithuanians in the top 2. Only 2 nations represented in the top 4. This is the pre-final. We're on lap 12 of 14. And there we have Kaz Vasiliauskas setting off on lap 13. Behind him, Seamus Udavicius. In third place, Danny Formal. Fourth is Joey Wimsett, and Ben Cooper now tagging on to those guys. At the moment, 5th place, Ben Cooper may feel is good enough to start a 20-lap final. Very, very deep thinker is Ben Cooper. Brilliant racer, but he also has not just a racing brain, but a strategic brain. Having said that, he may well feel that the inside of row 3 is not as good as the outside of row 4, because he is putting pressure on Joey Wimsett. There you see them going through the screen now. Here is your race, not your race leader, excuse me, because Kaz Vasiliauskas is a long way away. This is Seamus Udavicius heading Danny Formal. Then third and fourth, and there's the move by Ben Cooper on Joey Wimsett. Does he execute it? I think he has. Ben Cooper moving up to fourth. So this will be the final lap, 1 to go. No, Ben Cooper did not go past Joey Wimsett. So Ben Cooper's just making the point either to himself or to Joey Wimsett. Look, I could come past you. Oriol Dalmau Caballero of Spain is immediately behind Ben Cooper, so Ben can't do anything silly. It's all very well saying I'll start on the inside of row 3 with a 5th place finish. Doesn't want to be on the outside of row 3 with a 6th place finish. Danny Formal trailing Seamus Udavicius for the 2nd and 3rd finishers, but way out in front, the other Lithuanian, Kazimieris Vasiliauskas. There is a back marker in his sight, but it's not going to be an issue. Here's the checkered flag. The checkered flag shows, and Kazimieris Vasiliauskas wins it. In 2nd place, fellow Lithuanian Seamus Udavicius. 2 Americans, 3rd and 4th, Danny Formal the champion, and Joey Wimsett 4th. And Ben Cooper did get caught by the Spaniard. Well, Ben Cooper got caught on that final lap by Oriol Dalmau Caballero, and Oriol Dalmau Caballero of Spain will start on the inside of row 3 in the final. The world champion will start on the outside of row 3 in the final. Luca Canderli of South Africa will be happy with 7th place on his 21st birthday. Jason Pringle, Australia, 8th. Simon Wagner of Austria was 9th. And Kevin Ludi of Switzerland made the top 10. Well, confirmation of the result of the DD2 pre-final. Victory for Lithuania's Kaz Vasiliauskas, coming home in front of his compatriot Seamus Udavicius. And just look at that winning margin, folks, 4.6 seconds. What sort of a message does that put out for when we run the final this afternoon? The American champion drove a great race. Danny Formal will start the final on the inside of row 2. Alongside him will be fellow American Joey Wimsett. Ben Cooper, the world champion, passed late on by Oriol Dalmau Caballero of Spain, so the world champion's going to have to start on the outside of row 3. Luca Canderli's 7th place came on his 21st birthday. Dennis Toom in 14th place has had 3 years out of the sport, but come back recently and making a 7th row start in the final on his return. Ferenc Kancsar of Hungary, very good in the preliminaries. Then it went wrong in qualifying practice and the heats, but a 15th place finish, not so bad.
354.
Well, here's the bad luck story. Sean Slavin going out of the race when he was in 2nd place. Zendarua going out when he was in 3rd. Pierre-Luc Ouellet and Sean Babington going out early on. 4 good drivers who all could have been contenders for the podium. Well, Kaz Vasiliauskas is the driver who won that one, and he's with Jenny Wade down at trackside.
Now, Kazim, an exciting race, but you have your own ideas about this race.
Yes, I'm not so happy about the, let's say, whole race. The result is good. I won the race. But I would say I was silly. Because, you know, this year I made 4 races. It's my 5th race. And I was pushing all the race, and I didn't turn back and to look where are the other guys. And it's bad for the tires. I mean, if you push the tires, you won't have such a good tires in the final. But definitely all the other guys, I mean, were pushing, but I could get advantage by saving the tires. I didn't do that, so I was silly. But I was fast. I'm happy about the result.
You were very fast right at the end there. I think you set the quickest lap in the last lap, so you must have been pushing. However, Cristiano Morgado also set his quickest lap in the second last lap of the last race in the DD2 Masters. You had an enormous gap. Had you turned around, you'd see that there were a few...
I couldn't believe. I turned last lap. I couldn't understand what's happening. Where are the other guys? And then I understood, oh my God, what I done? Why I was pushing whole race?
No, it wasn't so bad. A few people had some bad luck, and of course Ben Cooper's come through. He's right on your tail now.
Good, good. I enjoy because I won fight. I won real fight, like in briefing was told, true winner. I won the true winner. You know, the fastest guy, the cleverest guy.
Well, we'll see who the true winner is. Of course, your teammate, Monsieur de Vicious, will start the front row beside you.
I'm happy for him.
Okay, we let you go. We see you at the Drivers' Parade, and
Yes,
good luck in the afternoon. We hope you didn't make any wrong decision. I don't think so. The racing was great.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Kaz Vasiliauskas, a very level-headed young man, and yep, we do wish him well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now go into our lunch break. We start racing again with the first of our finals at 1:15, which is Micro Max. But before that, there will be a driver's presentation. We always have a driver's presentation at the Rotax World Challenge Grand Finals. We'll see if we can bring you the pictures of that. We would hope to do so. So do stay with us. But whatever you do, be aware of when you must join us this afternoon. 1:15, the Micro Max final. 1:35, the Minimax final. 5 minutes to 2, the junior final. 25 minutes past 2, the DD2 Masters final, slightly out of order. 3 o'clock, the senior final. 3 o'clock, the senior final, and 3:35, the DD2 final. Well, once again, thank you for having joined us this morning. I'm Ken Walker. I do feel privileged to be with you calling the races, but I'm going for my lunch now. We take a short lunch break. We go to the commercials as we go away.